A newscaster in Nebraska says that she was fired for circulating a pro-life petition. Melanie Sandiford was an anchor and news director at an NBC affiliate in North Platte, Nebraska. She was fired last month after participating in an initiative to make her hometown a sanctuary city for the unborn. She says she was not on the clock at the time and was fired just hours after a local newspaper reported on her pro-life activity. And we go now to Melanie Sandiford with more on her story. Melanie, thanks so much for your time today. We appreciate it. I want to get right to it. I know that you're really involved in your church and that you've worked on pro-life issues there before. And apparently I understand that the management at your TV station, they actually knew about that. So what happened this time and what was the issue?
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It feels like being home back on a news set, kind of. So thank you for that. Mostly, I was circulating a petition at my church. And so that's, not just in my community, but in my church. And I was taking care of, parishioners, people that I go to church with, at a church where I was baptized 50 years ago in my own community. We don't even get the broadcast from the station that I was working for in North Platte, Nebraska, in Curtis. It's 45 minutes away. I drive each day, or did, to work there at the station. And this petition was a petition to, if you signed it and we had enough signatures, it goes on the ballot in November 8th for that democratic voice to speak out for the people of Curtis, then would decide if Curtis would be a sanctuary city or not. That's what the petition was.
Yeah, and I know that, you've been in this business for many years. You wear a number of hats. You're a reporter, anchor, producer, and a news director. I'm curious, have you ever had a complaint regarding your coverage, in particular when it comes to abortion issues?
I've never had a complaint from anybody about it because I've always been partial. I know the business. I know you tell both sides of the story. You tell the facts. And people in North Platte, Nebraska, I'm actually kind of sad to hear this, to be honest with you, but people in North Platte actually thought I was pro-choice because I was trying to be so balanced that I perhaps even went too far the other way to make sure that I covered both sides of the issue. The prayer life people in North Platte, she reached out to me. She goes, "Oh, praise God, you're pro-choice or pro-life. We thought you were pro-choice." So maybe, I know when Roe versus Wade was overturned, I was, of course, so overjoyed. And so, falling on my knees and thanking God and things like that, that I didn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I had another reporter do that story. And I just made sure that it was balanced when he did.
I'm curious, when you were told that you were fired from your employer, what went through your mind?
I actually thought that when this happened, I thought, they're going to come beside me and say, we heard this from a liberal newspaper on the eastern side. They don't necessarily represent the views of the conservative area that you cover. I'm the smallest market in the gray media network. I'm the smallest TV station out of the nation that they employ. And they would have come beside me and said, what happened? How can we support you? Not, this is your last day.
Yeah, and we actually have to admit, we didn't talk directly to your former employer, that is, but the station manager did put out a statement in reference to your firing saying, quote, "KNOP's news personnel are not permitted at any time and regardless of beliefs to actively engage in any political activity for any candidate, party, or ballot initiative." That said, Melanie, were you ever made aware of these terms? Did you sign anything? Maybe was it in your contract, any of this language?
Well, first of all, I don't have a contract. I was at will or as needed. I did have a contract when I first started 5 years ago when I first came on as a multimedia journalist. But that was 3 years ago. That was a daughter died time ago. That was a mother died time ago. That was COVID time ago. That was a long time ago. And so, but since then, since 2020, I haven't had a contract. As far as they're telling me that in the handbook, it says things like that. I've never read that statement anywhere. I don't know. I honestly don't. I hired people. I've hired 7 or 8 people since I've been a news director, and never once in the hiring process did I ever say, here's this language, or here's a handbook where this says this. I've never done that. That's never been part of the hiring process, so I don't know where they're getting that, honestly.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I'm curious, before I let you go, What's next for you, and what do you hope comes from all of this?
Well, first of all, I've had a burden taken off of my chest that I didn't even know was there. Now I can speak freely. I can speak completely for pro-life, and I can tell people the dangers of not being pro-life for the unborn and all of the things that go with that. I can be Christian. I can speak freely. I don't know. I do know that there may be a lawsuit so that this doesn't happen to somebody else in the future, because this will set a huge precedent for what can and can't happen for how a person is treated just because of their religion.
Well, Melanie, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. We really appreciate it. Good luck with everything, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and God bless you also.